Grand Swiss chess event is the strongest chess tournament of its type ever.
The Isle of Man tournament is now probably the strongest major tournament in the world.
The Comus Hotel is an excellent setting for the tournament. It's got fabulous views of the Isle of Man countryside and the golf course that surrounds the hotel.
All the players are really enjoying the countryside, the quietness, the relaxation. It's a perfect fit for chess.
Chess is a sport and it is recognized as a sport by the International Olympic Committee. It's also kind of art, since if you look at the brilliant moves, you can understand the beauty of the game as well.
This is one arena where you can properly do mental battle against a fellow human being.
It's a duel between two characters, two intellects.
There's so much in the game of chess with a form of psychological warfare. There's so much drama.
It's a very hard sport. If something goes wrong or you play bad, it's on you. I mean, it completely depends on you.
Chess is not about finding best moves. It's about winning and losing, and about individuals.
It's about the ability both to win and lose with honor.
On the board they are enemies, but when it's over they are friends again.
Chess teaches you to be objective. It teaches you to see the reality as it is.
The Isle of Man is an island of natural beauty, with a unique cultural and sporting heritage. It is home to the most iconic and dangerous motorcycle race event in the world, the Isle of Man TT. Every second in the TT can make the difference between glory or failure. Another sport where time plays a major role is professional chess. Both depend on calculated risk-taking and the realization that just one miscalculation can turn likely victory into sudden defeat. No such thing as luck in either motor racing or chess. Once the lights go green or the clock starts to tick, only one person is responsible for the decisions that can result in success or failure. There is no hiding place.
Our type of tournament is called a Swiss tournament, and that can be for any number of people. This year is for 154 players from 42 countries, and it's held over 11 rounds.
This specific tournament in the Isle of Man is the strongest Swiss tournament ever held in human history. Basically because of the prize fund, all the big shots will be here. This is like the Wimbledon of chess.
The minimum prize fund as part of the bid was $400,000 US, but then we chose to have extra prizes for women.
This is a very unique Swiss tournament because usually in a Swiss, you start off playing someone who is relatively weaker. Here, you're playing strong players every game. There's no escape.
People who play professionally, who play at the highest possible level, who show the brilliance of this game, and that's why we need to make the game of chess a really professional one. It's not just about professional chess players, it's about professional approach towards the organization of chess events, marketing, financial structure.
This is all what we do in Wijkensee with Tata Steel as well during the tournament. It's a super month because all the hotels are fully booked, all the restaurants are full every day. Sponsoring chess tournaments, I think nowadays is a very safe investment.
Chess broadcasting now is a normal TV sports show.
You have a camera broadcasting and the commentary room downstairs, they can see it live. All the pieces and the board have sensors, and the sensors are being transmitted via this wire all the way down underneath, all the way to the central of command, the computer. And that means once a player makes a move, you can be sitting in Antarctica with the chess.com site, and you can see this move playing online as it is played.
Chess.com is now the biggest platform in the world. You see this big trend of every single top tournament having its own broadcast.
To chess.com, what they're doing is actually broadcasting this tournament to the world. This is the commentating. Let's see if it's open. Yes, it is. You have here sitting GM Daniel King. I am Anna Rudolph and Fiona Stell-Anthony.
Danny King, who has been doing commentary for over 20 years. He's considered to be one of the absolute best. He has this great combination of getting excitement in the show, but also explaining the game of chess very well. And then we have Anna Rudolph, she's a young commentator and also a popular Twitch streamer. And the third is Fiona Stell-Anthony of Luxembourg. She's responsible for all the player interviews. So she's been doing great work with the top players here after their games.
Here we've made a decision, we mostly talk to the winners, so obviously when they come in here, they tend to be in a good mood.
The main objective of the broadcast is to make chess more accessible. We're trying to explain the thought process behind the moves, behind the strategy of the players.
You have commentators that are able to actually analyse the game of chess and also bring out the personalities of the players as well.
But the human aspect, every player has a different story. How did they get here? What's going on in their mind, also from the psychological and emotional side.
This combination of TV programs, high quality of recording and transmission, and digital world, internet, and mobile devices, that's where the future of the chess promotion.
A round of chess can last, well, here it can actually last up to 8 hours.
End of the tournament, that's where it gets really difficult because players are getting tired. And that's why you see a lot of the players, they hit the gym, they try to work out, they try to go for long walks and to be in shape.
This tournament's going to be very tiring. It's an 11-round tournament. Towards the end, many of the players are going to be very, very exhausted. So we're going to see towards the end like who separates the men from the boys.
The Isle of Man tournament was 11 rounds. So imagine taking your final exams for 11 days in a row. Every day an exam that goes on for 4 or 5 hours, and the question changes every 5 minutes. So much so that you begin to run out of time trying to adapt to the new situation. It's an incredibly hard mental task.
When you look at the players who spend 7 hours near the chessboard, they spend more calories than those who are running short distances, at least. It's comparable to long distance runners.
I do have a Fitbit these days, and it comes to about, like for a proper 40 move plus game, it comes to about maybe 6,000 steps, maybe higher. So, cardio.
The kind of people who become chess players at a professional level are probably the kind of people who are prepared to risk a lot.
In the past, I mean particularly here in England, we had this expression, better a fair loser than a vulgar winner. But we've moved on. All sports are more professional, and same applies in chess. Nowadays, nice guys are losers, it's as simple as that.
The finance and logistics of major chess events can take years to plan in order to bring hundreds of players from across the world into one small island. Finally, though, the Grand Swiss is ready to welcome its competitors.
Hello.
The opening and closing days of major chess tournaments are the only days when competitors can truly relax. The opening ceremony is the opportunity for sponsors to meet the top players and for the players to trade news on recent events or their form.
So to get proceedings underway this evening, I would like to invite the Isle of Man's Chief Minister, Howard Quayle, to say a few words. Fault Erodus Manum, welcome to the Isle of Man. We are proud to be the only entire nation in the world to have been awarded the UNESCO Biosphere status, not just for our land, but also all our territorial waters. The final part of the ceremony is for me to invite the current world champion and #1 seed Magnus Carlsen to draw the colour for his first round game.
Once the tournament starts, the top players have only one focus: winning. With the opening ceremony over, the pairings are drawn for the first round, and players know who their opponents are and whether they have white or black. A player's preparation is vitally important, but how do the top players get into their peak zone?
Yeah, one question which is very important is what do you do before a game?
They try to sleep a lot, of course. You have to rest, you have to be fit, you have to be fresh.
Some players take a walk, other players eat, some players keep practicing chess.
The routine is you wake up, you have your breakfast, then you go to your computer, you prepare again.
I know several players that in the couple of hours before a game, they'll listen or watch Lord of the Rings. It somehow gives them moral courage, sort of backbone before they go in.
Some players think about sex actually before a game, which is quite interesting. Other players are much more focused. They are going to think about the exact moves they want to play.
Sometimes they prepare openings up to like the 25th or the 30th move. They spend many hours on preparation.
The level of our opening preparation, for example, has shot up dramatically.
You need the computer for preparation. You have to have ChessBase, that's the database, and you have to have some strong engines. On top of that, nowadays a lot of players use these servers, cloud servers.
That's why you know that if you're surprised in the opening, you know you're not playing against your opponent, you're playing against some kind of super machine. And that's why you need to get out of that preparation as fast as possible.
There's a Russian player called Artur Yusupov. He used to arrive at the board about 15 minutes before the start of play. Have his pen ready, he'd have his cup of tea. He would already be getting into that kind of thinking pose, working himself into the game.
Your capacity to focus your attention, to play at the right intensity, to manage your emotions, to self-regulate, to be self-aware. There's a whole raft of things within the mental side that competitors need to be really good at to get to the very highest level.
Belief is a major component in terms of people's mental ability, and if you really don't believe in yourself or believe what's possible in yourself, you're never going to make the top levels.
I pretty much got my visualization down to a T, so I could run a 400-meter race in my head thousands of times. So when it came to the final, I'd already run that race in my head many a time, so I wouldn't kind of be shocked. I wouldn't be surprised, and I would sort of stay calm.
If we have fixed mindset, we tend to believe that the skills we've got, the intelligence we've got, the ability we've got is finite. We don't believe we can get any smarter. Whereas if we have, by contrast, a growth mindset, we believe we can get smarter at things, that we work hard, we apply the right strategies, and you're going to be a better learner when you encounter things like failure.
As the seconds tick away before play starts at the Grand Swiss, the team of chess arbiters officiating make their final checks to ensure everything is in order.
And can you start white's clock, please?
This team of arbiters and organisers have been meeting regularly to ensure everything runs smoothly. Any new playing rules or guidelines to prevent cheating from FIDE, chess's world governing body, are put into practice by the team.
Our traditional role is making sure that the players are comfortable, that the clocks are working properly. If there's any dispute or problem with spectator, with arbiters, with other players, the opponent badgers in, the opponent plays with a coin, the opponent is fidgeting with the hand, the opponent kicks him in the leg. So the problem with the door that is banging. All those things we have to address for the comfort of the players. Every player is getting this. This is his visa. This is his permit to enter the tournament hall. Once he finishes his game, he's a spectator, which means he's not allowed in any of the halls. He has to surrender it to us. You feel a huge feeling of responsibility. You don't want any incidents because that will mar the tournament. I'm patrolling all the time. Like a referee in soccer, me, the other arbiters in turns, the smoking area, outside area, the corridors, downstairs. That's part of our duty.
With all preparations completed, the organisers, sponsors and government can now concentrate on the sports competition.
Worldwide events such as this, a highly prestigious event, is phenomenally good for the island and the chess scene. It helps put the Isle of Man on the map. And obviously we have the world famous TT races.
Even the local motorbike racers from the Isle of Man TT are intrigued by chess Can players competing in the most cerebral of all sports help racers improve their performance psychology?
The TT has got chess in common than any other motorbike race, purely for the fact that it is mentally so exhausting. Name's Richard Milky Quayle, ex-TT rider, TT winner, TT crasher. When it comes here, it's like the circus coming to town, it really is. You know, everyone gets excited before and, oh, I can't wait, I hope the weather's going to be all right, and everyone's having fun.
You've got to be strong-willed and strong-minded to take part in the TT, going through streets with houses either side or trees on a 38-mile course where you're down to maybe 15 miles per hour on some tight bends, and then the top speed is about 200 miles per hour.
Before you compete, you start to get a few butterflies and goodness knows what.
You're onto the start line, you go from here to the top of Bray Hill, you're doing 180 miles an hour within 6-7 seconds.
Those guys are nutters.
It's the fastest, most dangerous, but also the most exhilarating racetrack in the world. There's no place better to ride a motorbike than here. Like a chess player, you're always trying to anticipate what the opponent's going to do, and that's the same for me when I'm on the bike. I'm always anticipating what's around the next corner. That's all I'm thinking about, is getting through that corner faster, hitting that apex, making sure I carry the speed through it. Momentum is the key. And
I did a close lap in 2012. Before we did it, Milky Quayle does a video, like a DVD, to tell you, you know, this corner, there's a bus stop sign, you know, that's where your braking point, tip in at this, blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. And everything that he said to look for, you can't see.
Your brain can't keep up with it. It's just like, what's happening? What's happening here? What's happening here? What's coming at me? What's coming at me? But then your brain starts to speed up then, and it goes, oh yeah, I can get this now. Yeah, I understand. But it all starts to slow down a little bit.
This is an area called embodied cognition. Great competitors have an element of not knowing what they do when they do it.
These guys are at a level where they are hunting out perfection.
Every game should be like the last one, in that you try your absolute hardest and it's the most important game of your life. Every move should be the most important move.
That for me is a high performance mindset. It might be a golf swing, it might be a kick, it might be a pass. It's executed with positive intent.
Even my fastest times, even my best performances, they were never a perfect race, and I was always worried that the day I ever run a perfect race, I'd never want to run again.
You've got to believe you are the best. Sometimes that comes across as a bit arrogant and a bit cocky, but I don't see any problem thinking, well, yeah, I'm the best, because you are.
I was always known as a championship performer, and I would run well in Grand Prix and goodness knows what, but there'd be people who would beat me in a Grand Prix, but when it came to the major championships, I always got the better of them. And I think it's that ability to be narrow-minded stroke selfish, because you have to be, and you also have to walk that line of confidence and arrogance.
With worldwide media reports highlighting controversies over potential cheating at chess, the team of Arbiters has to be ever vigilant to ensure fair play takes place.
Entering an international chess tournament, there's more scrutiny like entering an airport. I'm using a scanner like using in the airports. Every round the computer randomly chooses 2 games, so the players are scanned here, and 2 games after the game ends we go and scan them. Everything just to see that everything, there's no devices on them.
Should I invest or what? Should we say that for later? No thanks.
We've got to the stage now where computers can beat players. Somebody can be somewhere else in the venue, sitting on a laptop, looking at the moves coming through the electronic board and using a device to transmit moves to the player.
Every guy, every John Ho with the software can actually beat the biggest Grandmaster. It's actually a matter of concern. So one of the aspects of Arbiters that was not the case before is to avoid cheating.
The top players are a very, very high level, and they're at a level where they would only need to look at a computer once in a key position to let them win the game. FIDE takes it very seriously.
We don't want them to have communications with people that might have communication with cell phones and software that might tell them which move is best to be played.
Generally it's a hidden device, not normally on person, because it's too easy to find. They'll normally hide it somewhere like the toilets.
Hopefully it's free, otherwise we have to wait. Yep, looks like we're free. So as part of our job, part of the Arbiters' job, we come in here quite frequently. We check, have a look around, check in the system, check underneath, make sure there's nothing there. The other ones you've seen is using a linear ones, they're essentially metal detectors. This will pick up things like mobile SIM cards, electronic devices. So if it detects a threat in here, the red light will go up and down. So that's warning that there's something that needs to be checked. So I can see nothing. Oh dear. This one's the worst one. So, and finally, and it sounds daft doing this, but there has been instances of cheating where someone's actually put a mobile phone in a plastic bag and hid it in the system.
So they'll have a phone that's got a strong chess engine on it. They'll go maybe every 5-6 moves and they'll put it in and see what the computer tells them to do next. Come back, play that line. Then they're easy to spot because they're frequently going to the toilet. The world number 55, Rousas, was discovered cheating with a mobile phone in the toilet. And there was suspicions because of the way his grade had gone up, and he was on the radar, but a Grandmaster of that level found cheating was a real shock to us all. All the games are on electronic boards. That allows us to take the moves that the players are actually making. We send them off to Professor Ken Reagan. He analyses the games and is able to tell us with a high degree of certainty if an engine's been used. So if you have a suspicion about a player, he can look at it and then you can take appropriate measures. One of my favourites is to accidentally disconnect his live board. That rules out a second person doing it. And there was a recent one where they were sending it in Morse, and it was one of the arbiters who's proficient in Morse and actually saw his eyelids doing the Morse signals and was able to go, wait a minute, there's something not right here. The player was pulled in for a search and a device was found. The players know themselves, we're all watching. The chances of us actually finding anyone cheating here are very, very low, but we still have to do it. You can't take the attitude, they're too good for it. Most communications devices use either Bluetooth or Zigbee, and they exist in the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. Transmission devices, they're passive. They don't have fans on them that you can hear, so that means they produce heat. So I've been experimenting for a while to see if thermal imaging can pick it up, and discovered it can. I've been on the Anti-Cheating Commission, or Fair Play Commission as it is now, nearly 8 years ago. We didn't have really smartwatches then. Smart rings, Google Glass, all these things didn't exist then. They do now.
At the elite level, chess players have a reputation for being smart. To be a champion though, even smart people need to understand how performance psychology can enable them to compete at their top level.
I simply don't know how many top chess players use sports psychologists. However, I have a feeling they should use them more. I think maybe one of the reasons that chess players haven't turned sports psychologists is that chess is very specific. You know, you have a sports psychologist who might be working in, let's say, soccer, but can they apply that to some kind of decision making in chess?
I'm quite vociferous in helping players to focus on their performance process and their performance mindset. Focus on your mindset. Focus on having a game face. Focus on using your self-talk.
What makes a top player in chess, or probably in any kind of sport? Of course you need practice, you need talent, but I think you also need something special, which is basically the will to win.
Some people have this problem that they're too sympathetic to their opponent during the game, and I think that's a psychological issue. Of course, I don't think that you should hate your opponent, but no matter who you're playing, you want to do your best against them, and you don't go easy on them because you like them.
Top players have really this killer instinct, and they are going to find a move which is going to finish the game very quickly. And they never think about the pain that the opponent might have about losing the game. If you do that, you can forget about being a world champion.
If you're feeling strong and ready, psychologically, you can do wonders. I mean, you can play really good chess, and if you're feeling down and not confident, and even against lower rated opponents, you're going to have a really difficult time. You're going to struggle.
Being underconfident, thinking that your opponent is going to beat you, I've had this feeling on a day that I'm going to lose a game, and it is a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Plenty of room for decisions based on psychology and what you think of your opponent. One would lead to, let's say, an ungodly mess on the board, and one would lead to a quiet, a closed position.
Good chess psychology is not giving the game away. It's poker face. Just calmness, that kind of Buddha-like stillness that some players have.
If they stay in their game face, they find their ideal performance state. We might call it an individual zone of optimal functioning. I've made a bad move, I stay in my game face. We've given away a try in the first second or first minute, I stay in my game face. My job is to stay in my game face no matter what, and nothing and no one takes me away from that game face.
Which can put that opponent into a bit of a confused state or maybe self-doubt as well.
I've always believed that the top players needed a sports psychologist. And of course, in the Soviet era, of course they had psychologists. They had psychologists going even on the attack.
Another big talking point reached into the world of the paranormal, with Korchnoi claiming his thoughts were being influenced by the brain waves of Dr. Vladimir Zukar. He would take a seat near the front of the stage and simply stare at Korchnoi, without appearing to take any interest in the progress of the game itself.
Zukar was there specifically with the intention of placing him sort of in Korchnoi's eyesight, and then waiting for Korchnoi to do the rest.
He plays with the strength of will of Zukar, and I play against Zukar.
They try to psych out the opponent. Fischer is a very good example. So in his famous match against Boris Spassky, there was really a psychological war, which started a few weeks before the match. And basically the idea was really to psych out the opponent. A player like Nakamura is also famous for trying to psych out their opponents. Here is the case that they are going to look at the opponent in a way that's not particularly friendly. They are going to try to act in a very assertive way. They are going to play with the space, so they try to invade a bit of the space, of the personal space of the opponent. The way they are going to shake hands is also, they take that as a way to impress the opponent.
In chess, more so than in any other sport, it's all about your ability to counter the incredible nervous tension that can just build with every single move.
Top players tend to be fit and need to invest time in their physical state. In fact, I'm convinced that one of the reasons why there's an apparent tail-off in performance around about the age between 30 and 35 of elite players isn't actually the aging of the neurons. It's the amount of time that they need to reach the same level of physical preparedness to cope with a 6-7 hour game.
Have good meals and eat healthy, and it's also very important to maintain physical physical fitness. And I think that's what's helped me to get through these 7-hour games.
Any highly skilled performer, any sport, including chess, really needs to be able to tap into their years and years and years and years of learning. And all that learning is unconscious. So the more you overthink things, the less likely you're actually able to tap into that. So it actually becomes more of a feeling. It feels like an intuition.
You try to go for this fortress, but it's not a fortress.
You don't believe in fortress?
Yeah, but I mean this one I knew from school basically. I knew that it was not a fortress, and I knew how to break it. Yeah.
Any of these sports which are done over a long period, something like golf, for instance, you cannot concentrate for 5 hours. So you actually need people to back away from it and actually think about anything else. You know, a golfer, you'll get them talking with their caddy about where they're going to go on holiday or what they're going to do that evening, what they're going to eat. You know, get them away from it. But then you want to create routines. So when you're going back in to perform, you have a routine that gets you back into it. A chess player can just tap the table a couple of times. Having a routine which gets you back into what sports people refer to as the zone is very useful.
It might be that you're playing chess and things aren't going so well. A thought pops into your head. A very basic thought might be, oh, this isn't going so well. I didn't think I was going to do too good today. Ah, typical, I'm going to lose to this player again.
There was a lovely moment in the British Championships when Mickey Adams, in a completely won position in the tiebreak against Luke McShane, blundered. Catastrophic loss, but Mickey said on the way back to the hotel, I reminded myself I had an advantage and I was time up, so there was everything to play for. So what he was doing was he was committing to self-talk in a very positive, a very healthy way.
In chess, it's let's come back to self-talk. If I have that thought of, I can't believe I've made that move, that was a stupid thing to do, wasn't it? It's your capacity to switch back on to the solution or to be mindful of where you are now on the board. So it's shifting your attention to the present moment.
And a lot of top performers do that. They almost sometimes have a mantra, a script, where they're describing to themselves the process of putting this behind me.
We need to empower competitors to be able to talk back to those thoughts, because what those thoughts do is that they can cloud your judgment and decision making. So if you've got a player who starts to have a bunch of automatic negative thoughts, they start to play with tunnel vision. They don't see the 360 degrees around them. Their anticipation slows, they slow down. Their decision making suffers. They don't make that first quick instinctive decision. When we're experiencing performance anxiety, when we've got negative thoughts, the front part of the brain, the intelligent part of the brain shuts down.
One of the things that a lot of the top players have, a certain stability. Vladimir Kramnik said this to me, that once he simply stopped blundering, it made him so much stronger.
Champions can make really good decisions because they actually have better clarity of thought. They tend to be able to control their minds a bit better.
So in some games, a top grandmaster like Magnus Carlsen doesn't play very well. They might win the game at the end or a draw, but the fact is that the game wasn't very good. They are very unhappy because of the quality of their game. That unhappiness is not going to last very long because they know that they are the best in the world.
That kind of arrogance is something that all the great champions have. There is no doubt about it. Kasparov, Fischer, Carlsen, they just believe that they are born to be there. That is their destiny, to be number one.
After EF4, I have E5, and everything collapses. And at this point, I come back from the bathroom, I see that he has played EF4, and I go bishop F4 in 1 second, which was not my plan at all. And after this, I couldn't really calm down, and I just made mistake after mistake.
Here we've got a clip of the world champion Magnus Carlsen, who's performing against Alexei Caruana from Russia.
In this clip of Magnus preparing to play his first move, it's a masterclass in the right kind of intimidation.
This shows a really interesting dynamic between the two of them. Magnus barely looks at his opponent. In fact, he avoids all eye contact. And he's trying to dictate the whole rhythm of it.
There's no kind of objective gamesmanship going over there. There's no way that his opponent could possibly have appealed to an arbiter to intervene.
Carlsen's spending a long time writing his name down and a few details, which should take seconds. Cursory handshake. And here's where it gets really interesting, because it just seems like an eternity before he actually gets to play his first move.
Carlsen is just setting himself before the game really starts. It's his move. I'm sure that he actually understands what his first move is going to be. He's prepared that in advance. But it's important just to ease yourself into the game so that you don't do anything rash.
Again, he's going back to his piece of paper, trying to control the situation. But Caruana is staying very composed. So it's a real interesting psychological battle between two great players here.
Magnus likes to tidy the pieces and to put the pieces, like he likes to put the knights on the side. And like one of the games that I arbitered, I actually placed his knight same position that he likes, but eventually he kept on. It's like a therapy rhythm that they tidy the pieces.
So he's going through a whole routine here, and he's dictating the play. It's a bit like the All Blacks doing the haka before a rugby match. He's dictating. Just when he looks like he's going to start, he goes and has another think again.
I've got another 20 seconds of torment to endure over here. It's unbearable to watch. We find that so awkward. We don't want to engage in it. You know, we want to mitigate the situation. We want to make our opponent feel comfortable. Magnus couldn't care less.
He had never played against this Russian opponent before. So he's sort of in new territory, so he's working things out and just coming to terms with that as well.
He's loading the psychological pressure on his opponent. There's so many false starts. It looks like he's there, it looks like he's about to begin. And just when he's about to begin, that's the moment he finds something off camera, in the distance, that is briefly infinitely fascinating. Carlsen had taken a powerful position right from the outset before he'd played 1c5.
Of course, there are enormous differences between how different people behave at the board. Some play a move and then they'll get up from the board.
I don't like being at the board when it's my opponent's move. I don't need to see the pieces to know where they are. And it feels like I'm somewhat in his space.
To experience that tension was too much for me. But I trained myself to sit at the board for hours on end. And it worked. It's a very simple equation. The more you sit at the board, the more you see. The more you see, the more you're likely to outplay your opponent.
The development of chess as a professional sport has been meteoric since Fischer broke the Soviet stronghold over the World Championship. From prize funds of tens of thousands, World Championship matches now attract sponsorship in the millions.
Chess has become more professional, like every sport.
Grandmasters, masters, even weaker players who are professional. The first motivation is clearly the love for the game.
I've made my hobby, chess, into my profession, and that has felt like a holiday ever since.
Playing the game was just purely enjoyment of the game. Of course he wanted to win. Nobody gets to be world champion without having an absolutely overwhelming sort of sporting drive to win.
They love the excitement that comes with the game. They're competitive, they love winning.
Discipline and hard work that makes a difference, I think. I think this is what separates the top 100 from the rest.
I've been arbitrating Magnus, the world champion, Magnus Carlsen, and he's unique in so many aspects. But one of the things that always impressed me, he never gives up. It's like Churchill said, never give up. He never gives up.
That top five have had a natural affinity to the sport, to the game, but they've built on that through physicality, through technique, and also through the mental side.
For professional players, not all of them can reach the goal what they had many years ago. You gamble your career, your life, your time for something which in the end can be like disaster.
Chess is very stressful, which is in a sense part of the fun, the excitement. But if you keep playing tournaments for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, that's going to have an effect on your health.
Of course, chess plays a huge role in our lives. We dedicate an enormous amount of time to it, but we're not fully immersed, just in we do other things. And I can't really think of a single top player, maybe with like one or two exceptions, that only think of chess.
If you are, like, let's say, average player in chess world, you almost get nothing. You're dependent on some club championships, you travel a lot. Also now level became very high, very hard to make any amount, any price in any tournament. Comparing chess with another sports, yeah, like average players, they can make much more money. In chess it's not like that. Unfortunately it's not so popular for spectators, maybe that's the reason.
The main way of making money is winning a tournament. Of course they all want to win.
As a chess player, you live or die by your results. You've chosen one of the most precarious and, I would say, one of the most satisfying routes to a living. Suggests that you're probably better able than most to cope with the high-stakes situation you're in.
Income is not going to be very regular. Of course, you can have additional types of income. You can write books, you can coach, give lessons, and so on. But if you do that, it's going to take time from the time you should be practicing.
Once you change your goals to just make some everyday money, your level goes down. You just cannot be better than guys who is concentrated 100% to make the goals. Like, for example, Magnus Carlsen.
Competitive chess players tend to live, to have shorter lives than players who are not that competitive.
It's very important. If your private life is stable, nothing, nothing against your concentration, against your progress. I think it's directly connected with concentration over the game, that you have comfortable situation inside of soul. Something disturbs you or bother you, it's automatically your results go down.
Whether chess is a great profession, in the sense that you make a lot of money, that you can really argue about. If you are Magnus Carlsen, you are doing very well, thank you. Maybe if you are in the 20 best in the world, you are still doing very well. If you are the best 100, I think you are okay financially. Below that, I think chess players are struggling.
Most players are conscious of having their picture taken. The ones who use their hands to clasp their head. So many players mask their faces with their hands, and some of them can see you coming a mile off. It's like they can see you the other side of the room and their hands go over their face. Magnus Carlsen, Fabiano Caruana don't even know I exist because they're so focused on the game.
Once the game starts, we're making sure, first of all, that all players are there in their seat. We allow them 50 minutes to be late. So we're making sure if anybody's missing, and we check making sure that all the clocks are working. When they come with the tea, the chocolate, the nuts, the banana, all those, and they take it in intervals, like every half an hour they take it. So they want the sugar level to be balanced.
Most of my games have been going 6-7 hours, and I think it requires fitness, self-discipline, and stamina, so to get through it. That's not easy.
When I'm commentating on these tournaments, I'm always looking at people's body language, and that's, for me, that's one of the most interesting things about chess, how people react under pressure.
If you can put them a bit on the back foot from the start of the game, make them think that there's something to be afraid of, then that's always a good thing.
And then you see interesting things happening. You see one guy starts to sit a little bit more comfortable, the other guy starts to think.
Because people are sat up close, nose to nose, over a period of hours, it's often interesting to see who gets further across the board than the other player. You find aggressive players almost climb across the board towards their opponent.
Many of them have adopted mannerisms which they feel will portray confidence or maybe intimidate their opponent.
When you play these top players, they always play faster than you. They always try to put some pressure on you on the clock.
After the first 2 rounds, I absolutely did not have confidence in myself. Even I had 1.5 out of 2. I knew that I played bad.
We can outperform stronger players if we're concentrating better. And if you like, our mentality is more focused than theirs.
You can't just show up to a tournament and say, okay, I'm confident. Confidence usually comes from playing well. Once you start playing well, you're playing strong opponents, you're defeating them, you're feeling they cannot touch you.
Judging when you go for it in a game of chess is really difficult because sometimes it can just be ridiculous to play for a win in some position that's very dry and you know you're basically just damaging your own position. Some people do it, but actually I think it's a loss of nerve.
The question is, how can you calm down? Some players actually sing a song in their man's ear. Some players think about a movie they like. And for a few minutes, it's important to totally disconnect from the game.
I do make the rounds constantly, and whenever something catches my eye, I will actually spend some time figuring out what's happening in other games.
When it's your turn, you should think in a very concrete way about the exact moves and the exact counter moves. However, when your opponent is thinking, you should basically take a more abstract view. You should basically think more about plans, maybe try to find things you didn't think about before.
I've seen many games where some player was much better, and you think that the game would win himself. And then, when it doesn't happen, the player that had the advantage starting to get under pressure, said, why don't I win it? What will people say about me?
Players know that they're being watched by thousands and thousands of people, and that can have an effect.
It's often said that a winning position is the hardest thing, because on the one hand you want to convert your winning position into a win, but you want to do so by not giving your opponent any counter chances.
It was Jan Hein Donner who said, I love all sorts of chess positions, end games, openings, middle games, but I hate one positions. The psychology changes. Suddenly there's a burden of responsibility that you place on yourself. You say, I should be able to win this. If I don't, I'm a failure.
It's a bad idea to think about the outcome. It's much better to really think about the process. You should basically think about the kind of moves you should play.
If you suddenly think, I've got a winning position, right, what's my process? I mean, it's nosebleed time, basically.
Many times he cracks, and the guy who was like defending has the sweet taste of victory.
If you focus too much on the outcome, you lose concentration about what you should be thinking about, which is the moves, the plans, and so on. And maybe you are too happy because you think you are going to win the game, and basically you lose a sense of danger, which is very important. Or maybe you are too depressed because your position is not very good, and then you say, well, I'm going to lose in 10 moves, so well, why should I bother?
In this tournament, I gave very serious consideration to resigning in round move 40, because I was thoroughly outplayed, waiting for the hammer to fall. But I thought, okay, I mean, dinner here is not that spectacular that I have to rush to have it. And I ended up saving that game, and when I continued asking him questions, eventually he started going wrong.
When you're on the point of winning, remind yourself that the game's not over. Chess is infinitely complex. There are many ways you could still lose. So tell yourself you don't want it to be over yet. You know, you're loving playing this one position. And you'd be a little bit disappointed if your opponent now resigned.
Sometimes chess players can overthink a strategy, for instance. And what they're doing, they're using a lesser form. They're using their conscious processing, which is very good for learning and things like that, but actually isn't so good for when you're actually performing.
Keep focused on the process, on the engagement, on the challenge, on the curiosity, on the flow state that you're in, and leave the results to sort themselves out. There's that old Chinese saying that when you lose, your opponent has educated you for free.
Commentators have exhausted superlatives to describe world chess champion Magnus Carlsen. Magnus' talents are not confined to chess. He has been a fashion model and brand ambassador, but Magnus' main influence is that of a disruptor. Not only has he disrupted how chess is played over the board, he has also changed how it is monetized, using live streaming platforms to reach his millions of fans with his banter blitz performances.
With people switching from big screen to smaller screens, chess fits perfectly because you can hardly enjoy watching football on your mobile phone, but you can definitely follow Carlsen Nakamura game there.
All attention, and naturally wherever he plays is focused around world champion Magnus Carlsen.
Nobody would argue that Magnus Carlsen has a huge talent, and that some other strong players, even Grandmasters, don't have that level of talent.
Magnus started at an extremely young age, so he's had so much practice at the game.
When he was a child, was able to memorize all the capitals of all the countries in the world. I think he was only like 7 or 8 years old.
From childhood, he was like 13, I think it was Dubai Open After every game, when I escaped somehow, I felt his strange energy, this power in 13 years old boy, yeah? I came after game to his father and I told him that this guy probably will be next world champion.
Magnus is clearly the best player when it comes to just understanding the position, feeling how to play, and that's a very strong skill he has.
The myth is that Magnus Carlsen relies on his feel and intuition and his natural talent is belied by his own accounts of the work he's putting in.
Magnus brings the numbers. So tournament with him or without him, it's very different. If you win a tournament where Magnus is playing, that's huge.
When Magnus is playing, there is like an elevated extra 100% of interest from everybody.
This desire to be the absolute best. It's not just being the best, it's better than everyone else.
Magnus is a very bad loser. It's well known that he does even better after a defeat than after a victory. In fact, the best time to play Magnus, looking at the database, is immediately after he's won.
He win everything, still winning, and so probably he's so much in love that it gives him enjoy. He enjoys the life too, because he's very successful.
What's funny about Carlsen is that he wins what looks to me like an incredibly impressive game and comes into the room to be interviewed and he's steaming. I could have played better. He's not satisfied. He wants the absolute best performance.
No, but I mean, I was intending to play in the final, and then when you first, I forget about that and play for 1 second. I was so pissed.
He might sit on one of his legs. He might be getting the message across that he feels quite casual about the game.
Magnus Carlsen, for example, doesn't care at all about what people say.
This is something that sets him apart from other players. He can make a blunder on move 40 and know that he made a blunder on move 40, and then on move 41 he can make an excellent move again. So he can switch.
If he has an advantage, he will play until the end. He will not give opponent draws, and because of that, he gets wins.
It's that absolute desire to be the best and to exclude other things in your life, to be totally focused on your goal. That is the difference between Magnus Carlsen and the rest.
I have to be on top every time that I play, fully focused, and to always be at my best.
Professional chess games, unlike most sports, do not take place within a set amount of time. Before the invention of digital clocks, the traditional analog chess clock was turned back after a set number of moves. However, once digital clocks were used in tournaments, games could effectively continue without limitation. As with the traditional clock, extra time for each player is added after 40 moves or 60 moves, but the digital clock also allows players to be given an extra 30 seconds increment every time they complete their move.
Here we have 3 different time controls. First time control, we have 1 hour and 40 minutes to make 40 moves. Then you have 50 minutes to make 20 moves. And then you have 15 minutes for the rest of the game. And this all accommodated with a 30-second increment.
The time control, I view it like a buffet. It's like they give you the food, you eat it. They give you the time, you use it.
Even with a generous amount of time, the danger of overthinking, getting into time trouble, and having to make several moves in seconds is never far away.
Sometimes you can get into time trouble because of a bad opening or having a difficult start, and you have problems to solve.
The way you are playing before, you would take 10 or 20 minutes to play a single move. Here you have, let's say, only 5 seconds for 2 moves.
Your instincts start to kick in and you become extremely sharp, your calculation level goes up, you're completely into the game, everything else disappears.
You have to make decisions, which typically are very complicated decisions. Basically, you simplify your calculation. You look only at the main line, and if the main line is okay, you just go ahead.
You can imagine, of course, when you have 1 minute on the clock and you still have 10 moves to make, it's a very tough spot.
A lot of players get panicked completely. You have like let's say, minutes for, let's say, 12 moves, very complex position.
You know when position is critical, you know when any mistake will be fatal. And being able to deal with that is the hallmark of a truly great chess player.
When I had this time trouble, it's because my mind was working very badly, very slowly, and then I was rechecking very obvious decisions, rechecking a few times, when usually I need maybe 0.1 second.
David Howell, Alexander Grishuk, who famously find themselves in the grip of time trouble. They've developed stratagems for coping with this. They've spent a lot of the time, they've invested a lot of the time in the early stages. They've got a very good handle on where this game is going and what the core elements are.
I just been more lucky against David because he's also the player who usually in time trouble. So we both get in this extremely low time, like seconds, one moment, and then it was like, I was like half bluff with this sacrifice, and in one moment he played well, defended, but then panicked. I mean, he was watching and clock, he don't see immediately win, and panics.
We know that time travel leads to pressure for both sides, even if one side isn't objectively in pressure.
You see people who are just stressed, like they are moving, they're agitated, they have these tics where they're constantly moving, they cannot sit still for 5 seconds.
If you can't cope with that nervous tension, then you can blunder. And very often, it's interesting to think about what the anatomy of a blunder is. How does it physically happen on the chessboard or in your head?
And these are lovely moments to see high-performance athletes coping with those squeaky bum moments, in Alex Ferguson's memorable phrase.
You have to play completely by intuition. If I could describe to you how my brain is working when I'm playing in time pressure, then I wouldn't be doing it right. It has got to be completely natural.
If a chess player is having to speed up how they're playing, all of a sudden they've been playing it from one speed and they turn into another. They just need to speed up the rhythms how they think, thinking more rhythmically in your head. So it's almost like sing-songy. You know, you kind of sing it out to yourself. So okay, so I'm going to play this move. I'm going to play this. Okay, we're playing this move, and it stays very confident.
The great players can deal with the tension, maintain the focus, keep calculating, and not get diverted.
After the time trouble, you are very excited. Your level of adrenaline is very high.
The famous advice is that after move 40 you have to get away from the board. So if you make your 40th moves, you get the extra hour in, you just get away, you get a cup of tea, you drink something, walk around. The mistake people often make is that they keep sitting at the board and they're still in this rush of time trouble and immediately make their 41st move because they think it is the logical move. And very often that 41st move is a mistake. Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is to think about where you made a mistake.
On move 41, you see somebody sitting at the board, his opponent is not there. And that player, instead of looking at the board, he is studying the score sheet very carefully, because his position clearly went from good to bad, and he is now carefully looking at all the mistakes he made in time trouble and thinking about ways he could have improved his play. If the game is still alive at that point, you shouldn't be doing that, but people still do. You still see them sitting there thinking, why have I played that? That makes no sense.
Sometimes mistakes are made because of your personality or because of where you are in the tournament. Another source of mistake is due to anxiety. Anxiety is going to interfere with your cognitive processes. That's going to increase the risk of making a mistake.
If we didn't make enough mistakes, we wouldn't have reached the point of excellence that the top players have reached.
I think tennis is similar to chess because you have these long games and you can see the ebb and flow of a tennis game, and you can see sometimes one of the players just cracks and it runs away. That fifth set and they've just gone, and you can see exactly the same thing in chess as well.
Chess is one of the cruelest games because you can play brilliantly for 6-7 hours and one split second of miscalculation and you lose the game.
Every moment you can make a blunder which ends the game immediately, so there's a lot of tension.
All the top players are good at this. They can be very objective and understand why things went wrong. Yeah, okay, it went wrong because of this, and I understand that. I've been there before, and actually it's normal. We can put that right for the next game.
Chess is not a game of chance. There's a reason for every mistake.
Missed wins or blunders which turn the game from a draw to a loss, things like that, of course, they do stick with you. If you blunder something that turns a win from a loss in a World Championship match, that will stay with you for a long time.
I try to look at the games, find the moments and the points where I actually make the mistakes, and try to understand the reason behind the mistakes, and take it as a goal for the next game, not to repeat them.
Magnus Carlsen, in an interview, made a lovely observation once. He said the trouble with many chess players is that when they lose, they feel stupid.
Now it's really important to look for improvements rather than faults, because if we look at faults, we end up mentally rehearsing the faults themselves.
You know, you need this virtuous circle where you prepare, you play, you learn from that experience, and hopefully the next time you play and prepare, you play better, and hopefully it's a spiral going upwards.
We record our games and we can analyze our games afterwards and see the reasons, what happened, where we went wrong, what we can learn.
I can't explain why I see something, why I miss something, or why I blunder something.
With a growth mindset, you'll be identifying areas of weakness. You'll want to fill in the gaps. You'll certainly want to leverage your strength areas too, but you'll be wanting to get smarter. You'll be wanting to improve your chess skills.
Magnus, Fabiano, for example, once they see the position, it's almost always they know what they're looking for. For other Grandmasters, other strong players, it will take time to make adjustments, to really get deep into the position.
One of the most important domains that any learner, certainly in a skill-based domain, needs to engage with is what we call metacognition. Do I know how my cognitive structures are working? Can I manage my cognitive structures and the practices that develop those more adequately and more skillfully? The result of that, of course, is you become a better chess player through the process of thinking about your thinking.
To become an expert, one needs a lot of practice.
The best players will practice a lot, but what you often find is that the ones who really make a breakthrough are the ones who engage in quality of practice.
I looked for good even in bad races. My old man said to me, look, you're not going to lose this race. You're either going to win or you're going to learn something, but you won't never lose it. If you don't win it and you don't learn something, then you've lost.
After 9 rounds of competition and only 2 rounds remaining, the Grand Swiss has reached the business end of the tournament. Large sums of money will now be won or lost on a single move. In addition, the highest scoring player not already qualified will automatically join the Candidates tournament. The winner of the Candidates will challenge the world champion for the World Chess Championship. English professional David Howell started his 10th round game knowing that a win against the stronger Russian star Alexander Grishuk would put him into the small group of players competing for the Candidates spot. After a tense struggle, Grishuk resigns on move 39.
And we're being joined by 2-time British champion David Howell, who's just won a magnificent game, an exciting game against Grishuk. David, congratulations.
Thank you.
You have actually just confessed to me before we went live that you only checked the pairings at 1:13 this afternoon.
Yes. It's not the most professional thing, but I find I sleep better if I don't think about it.
You've had many highlights in your career. Does this rank up there?
Ask me again after tomorrow. I might be crying this time tomorrow, so...
Listen, how does it feel to be one game away from the Candidates tournament? Let's put it like that.
Yeah, I didn't expect this. Even waking up this morning, I didn't expect this. So
yeah,
we'll see. I mean, a lot of chess still to be played, and yeah, it could all go wrong very quickly. So
yeah, but it's absolutely sensational.
For David Howell, a win in the final round against China's super grandmaster Wang will register his best ever performance. As the players battle for prize money, they know that decisions in the last round can either earn or cost them tens of thousands of pounds.
And today is the last round of the Isle of Man Grand Swiss. where it's going to be some very, very, very interesting action. Over here, board number 1, we will see US GM Fabiano Caruana, number 2 in the world, who will be facing black against American GM Hikaru Nakamura. Fabiano is leading the pack with 7.5 out of 10, actually chased closely by 7 players who have 7 points each. Board number 2, we have world champion Magnus Carlsen facing black against Armenian top player Levon Aronian. Magnus was 7 out of 10, undefeated. If he wins, he's first. If he draws, he will get some money. Over there, board number 3, we will be seeing 2 GMs. We're going to see Kirill Alexyenko, top Russian GM, playing against Nikita Vityugov, of a GM from Russia. And board number 4, against with two players with 7 points, we have China's Super Grandmaster Wang, who took a hiatus for school, but now he's back and is playing very well. Against British hopeful GM David Howell, both of them 7 points, and will be very, very interesting, very tense game. The first prize fund is $70,000. Everybody wants a piece of the cake, so we're going to see some very, very tense game today, and anything can happen.
Going into that final round, remember there's this one qualifying spot for the candidates tournament. 5 players who were still in contention. What we saw in that last round was an extraordinary battle of nerves. It's the ones that held their nerve that came through.
Everybody says that Wang has best chances because he's white, I think, yes, with Howell.
In terms of the last round, I was sort of rooting for David.
Wang wins, probably he's for sure in top 3, and who knows, but I cheer for these guys.
I thought the Russians were actually very, very impressive in that last round. Alexyenko and Vityugov, they almost made it. Alexyenko knew exactly when to press hard for a win, when to step back and make a draw. His emotions were in check as well.
During a game, there is no room for subjective thinking. We as chess players are quite objective.
A player is a person. Person, player, performer, the 3 levels. And you're trying to improve the player and you're trying to help the performer perform.
David Howell just kind of cracked in that last round. He played too hard. He wasn't objective enough.
Sometimes you don't exactly know why you make a mistake or why you miss something. Sometimes your vision of the board is just not fully there.
David at some moment should have played for a draw, but he knew that wasn't going to be good enough to qualify, and so went all in. It was a very long shot, but it didn't work.
For most top guys, they deal with losses very well. I mean, of course they hate it, but then they go on to try to take the most out of that loss.
So you're always trying to help that competitor rationalise what's just happened. I have no idea what the answer is. You do, and I'm trying to draw out the answer from you.
Let's go and congratulate the tournament winner and qualified player to the candidates tournament, Grandmaster Wang.
Congratulations, you are our champion of this year. And more importantly, probably for you, you qualified to the candidates tournament. What an incredible achievement. Congratulations, how do you feel?
Thank you very much. Okay, I feel it was totally unexpected. Okay, before this tournament, I was even thinking to withdraw because I was really tired from World Cup.
Once again, many congratulations, and I think you've attracted many fans over the past few days in this tournament. So we wish you well in the candidates.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Collecting the grand trophy and $60,000 in prize money. The winner of the FIDE Chess.com Grand Swiss and qualifier for the 2020 Candidates Tour is Wang Hao.
Following a fortnight of intense competition, the Isle of Man Grand Swiss has ended. Unlike other sports, there is no place to hide in chess. Players who make poor moves on the board will be confronted with their errors during either the post-match interview or whenever they run their chess engines to check the quality of their play. All the world's elite chess players use chess engines and artificial intelligence to prepare for their games and improve their thinking and creativity.
At the end of the day, I'm the first knowledge worker who suffered a defeat from an intelligent machine. Today, I remind people that a free chess app on their mobile device is stronger than Deep Blue, because the machines still have their limitations. The art of the future development is how to give an opportunity for humans to inject or to invest our unique human qualities to compensate for machines' deficiencies.
Now, chess engines are seen as vital allies for humans. Even with machines, the chess contest between humans will always remain one of the ultimate sporting contests.
I don't think that the beauty and the suspense of this competition will be washed away by machines getting so strong. Actually, today there's even more excitement for general public to watch, because when I played, say, Anatoly Karpov 30 years ago, the public didn't understand what we were doing. Today, every amateur could just look at the computer screen and say, oh, Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, made a big mistake, because machine tells you that. So it's annoying for me as a former world champion that some total amateurs can criticize the big players, but at the same time, it enables millions of people to follow the game.
The feeling is really tough when you play a 6-7 hour game and then you lose. It's like, you played such a long game and then you came empty-handed.
If you've invested so much into a game after 6 or 7 hours and it hasn't gone your way, the best thing to do is forget about it and you move on. However, we're not machines.
You can practice all you want, but you need to be able to be a good competitor. That's absolutely vital.
The players will carry out their post-mortems to learn where their performance can be improved before their next tournament. Other players return home empty-handed.
I want to try my best, and also my parents, until they was living, I mean, they almost give everything to me and my brother to make something in chess, and it would be a huge disappointment if I would resign now. Yes, I mean, till I can, I will do it for sure. At least I try. Objectively, maybe I have like 6-7 years more, but okay, I will try, and